So when it comes to racing wheels, this is one of those wheels that had a lot of good memories with me. The reason why is very simple. This racing wheel, the Catz racing wheel, this one is for the PlayStation. You also had one for the N64. But this is where it all started. This was my first racing wheel that I got back in the day. And that was not like that fancy that we're having now with all of these Logitech racing wheels, force feedback, vibration, you name it. But this wheel was just basic, but was still a lot of fun to play with. Hey, welcome back to the channel. It's awesome that you're tuning in. So with this video, we are going to take a close look at the racing wheel from Catz. So I already pointed out this device has been made for the N64 back in the day and also for the PlayStation 1. And I can still remember I got both of them and not in the same time period. It was like I sold my PlayStation 1 back in the day for an N64 and I say years later I bought back my Catz racing wheel because they were like dirty cheap. Okay, if you look at the pedals, it's quite simple and it's not really fancy, of course. And the reason why, because nowadays we're going to get these fancy wheels with clutch included. So I already mentioned this thing is quite basic when it comes how they made it and how it works. And I can tell you this thing is really basic. So first of all, the base is made out of plastic. There's nothing really fancy. It doesn't weigh a lot. And I must say, like, at the bottom we're going to get a rubber. I do like it because it doesn't like give this thing the option to slide away. Then we're going to get two pedals. The pedals are very long and it's not pedal to the metal because everything is like made from plastic. And at the back we're going to get just a basic spring. And a little bit of a bummer, but both pedals have the same tension. So for the brake and acceleration there is nothing really, let's say, special over here. The connection, that is even like made of plastic, as you can see here, only beside the bolts that are inside here. Like, there is nothing really fancy. It's like cheap to the maximum level. And behind the shifter here we can find the connector where we're going to plug in the pedals itself. But let's talk about the racing wheel, or it's not really a wheel, to be honest, like in half wheel. It's kind of weird how this thing looks and what you can do with it. So first of all, again, there is no force feedback. It's like a spring inside and they'll give like the tension for the wheel, and it doesn't even have like the 360 degrees. It's like very basic. And there is also no way to basically mount this thing to your desk. The only thing we're going to get are some suction knobs over here. I must say these things work very well if you have them like in table and not like this mat I'm using here. So let's take a close look at the controls. Okay, I can still remember that the one from the PlayStation, I bought it with GTA. Yeah, seriously, like GTA. Who came up with that, like selling it with GTA? And the reason why, because you can still basically use the D-pad. Like, it's a controller and it is a wheel. We're having all the buttons over here. They even like indicated, I think you cannot even see on the camera, but they indicate here which normal like button it is, like the R2, L2, stuff like that, select start. So having everything, including the digital and analog switch over here. So this racing wheel has everything that we're going to need when it comes to navigating through menu, but also like with GTA you can just move the character around, play like the character, and then afterwards you can basically get in a car and start playing and start racing. Okay, so the shifter itself, that is something that you don't see very often with these old school racing wheels, but this is like the really fancy one. Look at this. Oh yeah! Woohoo! Yeah! Okay, so let's try this mini game first. Okay, damn, don't know which button to press. Can even like use the steering wheel for this. But of course it's not really convenient, so just going to use this D-pad instead. Let's boot up the game. Okay, so the first game that we're going to try out is Ridge Racer. I'm going to regret this so much. It's kind of big dead zone in the pedals. But I find it's quite responsive when it comes to the steering wheel. Here you can see we have no dead zone whatsoever. So, oh, but it is really sensitive. Oh man, this is horrible. Oh, come on, come on. I can say like Ridge Race Revolution is a quite challenging game to play, but with the racing wheel it's get even like it's just going to be like to the next level. Well, it's such a fun thing to do. Woo! No rumble function, no force feedback. Yes, 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 I can do it. And freaking drift. Yeah, I'm going. Shut that up, shut that up. You're not the freaking one using a Catz racing wheel. Oh. Oh man, I love these like hardcore style music in this game. Come on, I can beat him, I can beat him. When if you're playing for a very long time, you're going to get used to this racing wheel. And I was surprised, basically, like how good this thing actually works. I can still remember like having a lot of racing wheels back in the day, and those freaking things never work, you know, like getting this gigantic dead zone, especially with PC games. Oh yeah. So you can see like after playing for some time and getting the hang of it. But I can still remember like there was the game called Wipeout 2097 that I played a lot with a racing wheel. So I'm curious, we're going to try that one out. Because I wanted to play my old school game again. And of course we're going to try out some other Ridge Racer games. Okay, so let's go into more nostalgia now. So Wipeout 2097, I love this game so much. I played it like crazy. I didn't get like into the first game or the third one, but this particular one is awesome. And the pedal also works and it was very responsive. But again, like Wipeout is quite challenging. Sadly you have like a very small dead zone, or small. So you can change the viewing angle. Let me play the game way better. But this game was just relaxing, you know, like if you can memorize all of the tracks, of course. It was such a fun game to play. But again, you need to get used to this. If you play it a lot with a controller, it's going to be very challenging. Oh, we got a boost, we got a boost, we got a boost! Oh, no, no, go away, go away, go down. But this game is such a big pain in the ass if you want to play sometimes. AutoPilot! Woohoo! Okay, so a fun thing is to see is like when you're pressing the analog or digital button in position, you can see over here down, the controls are all going ape shit. So that's the reason why we need to have like at least a digital or analog solution. Somehow you can see like the wheel itself, it's not working very well. So let's put it back on analog, see if this thing has any better response. And here you can see I'm putting it back in analog, it works way better. So that is just something that we need to take into consideration, which game needs which kind of configuration. But this game is such a relaxing game to play. It's not like that rushed and extremely difficult like the Ridge Racer 1 series. Same with drifting. Of course, if we're going to get some fast cars, it's going to be like slightly difficult to play. Alright guys, so let's take a close look at the bottom part. And let's remove all the screws and let's see what is inside this wheel. Because it's fully made of plastic. But just see what kind of technology they used back in the days. So we don't need any special tools. Oh man, I love these old school pieces of hardware. Now if you're having like special controllers, we need to have special tools to open it up. But this is just old school with a Phillips screwdriver. So let's remove all of them. And I'm guessing the bottom plate will be removed separately from the base itself. So we can do a quick peek in the inside. And after all of those years, we need to remove the seal. There was nothing under it. Crap. Okay, so let's remove the bottom plate. Let's see if I did my job right. Oh, there's always such a pain in the ass. There's one part that has like a single thread still connected. Come on. Freaking stupid. Freaking. Okay, so this is kind of hilarious if you ask me. So they just basically added two pieces of plastic with some metal inside just to give this thing some weight because it's all made of plastic. Alright guys, so let's take a close look in the inside. So the way how they made it is quite genius. But the way how they also made it is quite cheap. Here you can see like they are using these very thin cables. Like this is absolutely like horrible, and they went hot glue crazy. Another thing I noticed when opening up, I had this substance on my fingers, and here we're going to get like the hot glue, but the hot glue is not gluing anymore because it's really loose. So that happens with hot glue when it's like 15 years old or something like that. So here we're going to get the conversion box, because the cable that goes in here, this is basically the cable that goes into the console itself. Here we're going to get the micro switches more like the old school membrane buttons that have been connected over here. It goes all into this box, and they're basically like giving the signals to the cable or the PlayStation. So the mechanism itself, that is quite interesting. Here you can see like when pressing it left or right, then we can see like the movement. The two gigantic springs in here, they have like some styrofoam or around it, or some special foam for like not damaging the case itself. Don't know if you can even hear it, but from the outside you can hear the squeaking. You can hear the squeaking sound. So that's basically how this thing works. Here we're going to get the rotation with the sensor inside. It's quite, yeah, again, that's quite genius way how they made this. The other thing I kind of find interesting, like there is a separate cable, and the cable itself is of course from the pedals. So the pedals goes over here, or the pedal connection goes over here, and it goes all the way in here, and basically this is like the collection box for all the signals from the steering wheel, but also for the pedals and the clutch. So guys, this was a blast to the past with this Mad Catz racing wheel, and I personally really enjoyed it. It's maybe not the best racing wheel you can get, but for me, besides like having good memories, it's a lot of fun playing with it. Oh man, when you're looking at racing wheels, like you have so many great options nowadays, and like when you're especially looking at the Logitech G series. But so far I know those won't work on any of them, so we are like stuck with racing wheels like these. Yeah, did you ever own racing wheels? Let me know in the comments what were your experiences. Well, thank you for watching, consider subscribing, hit that little bell, become one of the Catz family, and I will see you in the next video.